Alright, hello everyone. For some reason, my Dota 2 is not popping up. I will get that fixed in just a second. But of course, as always, we are casting the Sunday Evening Cup series for NA Dota. I don't know what's going on. And of course, I will be joined with Nizcast as always. How you doing today, buddy?
Here, I'm ready.
Okay,
Well,
there we go.
kind of.
We are
I'm a
fixed,
little
guys.
frantic. I'm a little
Yes, I
frantic.
don't know what happened there. That was kind of weird. We did not have a Dota 2 screen, but now we do. And we are into the draft. Niz, you're here. No need to be frantic. We have a good few minutes here to sit around and talk about this draft. Of course, we are watching No-Eyed Kings, as we have seen them before. Definitely an up-and-coming amateur team. Excited to see what they're bringing today. And, of course, Defeat Me, a newer team. We haven't really seen them before. At least I haven't seen them before. And the draft is already underway as we have a Death Prophet picked up for Defeat Me. No-Eyed Kings will fire back with a Doom. We'll see their next pick here. And of course, for the bans, we did see Void and Tidehunter banned out by Defeat Me, Razor, and Lycan for No-Eyed Kings. So really nothing too big to talk about right now. Of course, it is worth noting that Doom is very important. Whether or not Death Prophet gets her ulti off before or after, it can change the breakdown of how the fight goes down. A small thing for right now, but it will matter later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Look for No-Eyed Kings to possibly rush a Blink Dagger on that Doom for the purpose of blinking in and just getting the Doom off on the Death Prophet before she's able to pop Exorcism. If you do choose to do that, though, you need another initiator because otherwise they'll just run away. So you're going to need someone who's going to have to lock down and really start the fight. Obviously, Tidehunter's a great hero for that. You can blink in and Ravage, but it's already been banned out, so that's not an option for them. And of course, they picked Doom after Tide had been banned, so maybe they've got another plan, or maybe they're just not going to use Doom that way. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, Viper can be decent at that. You can't pick up we have seen it before. I want to say it was a game with the Impulse where we saw. Maybe that was just a recent game I've played. But yeah, Viper can pick up a blink, but Bristleback is definitely a good front runner. You can Doom him and prevent Bristleback from proccing, but it's really one of those targets you don't want to do. You don't really want to have to. Generally speaking, we might see him pick up the mech over the Death Prophet and see her rush the Yule Scepter instead. And interesting, they ban out the Rasta. I guess they're scared of the potential push coming out of No-Eyed Kings, and we do see a Prophet ban as well. I do like that AA ban. AA is... I do? Okay, is it in Dota TV? Or is it in Skype, Niz?
I think it sounds Skype. I don't know. You sound a bit robot-y to me.
Okay.
Not robot-y, but like
10 seconds remaining.
a little echoey, maybe like a little bit like you're underwater kind of thing. I don't know.
Huh.
Maybe it's just the call. Maybe we just have to rehost. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we will. I can go ahead and restart.
Reserve time.
Let me ask in the stream: Is this is voice quality all right? But AA, I really like the ban against the Death Prophet, mainly just because the ult heal can really be negated, and well, literally negated by the AA ult, and that basically negates a lot of Death Prophet's tank ability, because you want to have her run in tank damage and then heal up at the end of the duration of that ultimate, ideally, you know, not dying during the fight. But AA can definitely make that stop quick.
Yeah, the AA ult, as it typically the AA is going to be across the map from the fight, and he's going to throw his ult in, so he gets a nice big solid ult. And when that lands, it really forces the other team to make a decision whether they want to stick around and fight and still engage with that, or they're going to back up and just kind of reevaluate everything. So it's a good way of pausing, and especially once Exorcism's popped, they have to really evaluate that, because they can commit, but they're not going to be able to get any heals. So Death Prophet rushing a mech or Abaddon throwing out the heals or something like that would be completely negated.
Okay, and we do have confirmation that it is alright, so it looks like it might just be what you're hearing through Skype, Nez, unfortunately, and I'm sorry that I sound
That's fine.
like I'm drowning, but maybe that's just because it's the excitement of Dota washing over me.
That's fine. We'll just we'll do it in between games. We'll readjust that and see if that helps. But I can deal with it for this game. It's fine.
Yep. And Dazzle and Abaddon, of course, Sand King now following up. But Dazzle and Sand King is very interesting, but can be very strong combo. You can do quite a bit of damage with the Sand King blinking in and following up the Doom Blink once that's online. Obviously, Sand King is a hero that'll get it quickly because of his ability to farm stacks in the jungle. But later on, what I like from Dazzle is he can throw down that ultimate kind of out of threat. And then as time goes on, Viper's going to start chunking people away bigger and or harder and harder and harder because of the minus armor, and because Nether Toxin, if I'm not mistaken, is physical. And yeah, it is physical, so it's amplified from Dazzle's ultimate, of course, the heal as well. Stacking on top of a Sand King Burrow Strike in the laning phase will be nice. But Abaddon, Abaddon could just make everyone live forever, so it's definitely worth noting that, because Abaddon shield, heal, and then he just kind of runs up front, tanks a bunch of damage, and they have a lot of incidental damage, No Eye Kings that is, so it's really hard for them to prevent Abaddon's ult from healing him up. They can prevent the right clicks, of course, but Epicenter, you know, potentially a Poison Touch, a Viper Dots, an ulti, maybe even a you know, Doom Scorched Earth, all those things are going to heal Abaddon up unless they doom him.
Yeah, absolutely. What I like about Abaddon is Abaddon's a support hero that needs a good start, and once he gets rolling, he gets really, really, really strong. And he can just start throwing shields out and start throwing all his heals out, and basically he can pick up a Soul Ring as well. And with the Tranquil Boots, he's able to just basically have almost unlimited mana. And when you put him paired with Bristleback and Death Prophet, two heroes he synergizes really well with, because obviously he needs to keep them alive. But what it does is those two heroes are going to help you acquire towers and knock down towers. And that gives Abaddon the start that he needs in terms of gold and just getting him in team fights early on in the game. So that really helps him get rolling. You see a lot of synergy with Defeat Me's team already. And Mirana is another team like that, or another hero like that can add to the team, throw an arrow, get an early pick off, pop the Mirana ult, something like that, and just get in, get a pick off, and allow you to take a tower on the back of it.
Mm-hmm. And last bans will be the Slark and the Pugna. Naga Siren will be the final pickup for No Eye King, so definitely they're going to be their focus on the farm in this game. They want to get up that Radiance on Naga. Sand King and Dazzle are definitely going to be supports. I don't see too much of a chance of us seeing a Naga support, so definitely look to see that Naga in the mid or the safe lane, soaking up a lot of that farm. But kind of to add to your thought, Niz, I think it's worth noting that Bristleback and Death Prophet are also very, Skywrath Mage, I'm excited for this. But yeah, Bristleback and Death Prophet are very stable cores, where they're going to basically get what they want to get no matter what. In mid lane, Death Prophet can spam, Bristleback in the off lane is really tanky and hard to gank. You could even throw an Abaddon down there. And of course, Mirana is going to get farmed no matter what, because I assume she's going to be a core. We could see an Abaddon core. It's rather rare, but anything is kind of game in the amateur scene if you can play it well. So, but yeah, Skywrath Mage, definitely a stable pick. So the nice thing about Defeat Me's lineup is that all of their heroes are very stable in their own right, whereas the No Eye Kings is going to require a little bit more finesse in their execution. Sand King's going to need an early blink. Naga Siren's going to need that space to get the farm. Dazzle, Viper, and Doom are all heroes, though, that are relatively stable in their own right. I guess it's really just the Sand King, the Naga Siren.
Well, what I like is I'm pretty sure Mirana is going to be the core here. And the Skywrath is what they needed to pick up because they needed some way to initiate, some way to pressure with the supports on their team. And Skywrath's going to do that with the long-range initiate. And that's also going to help Bristleback get in there as they transition to the mid-game and start dealing some damage. And on the No-Eyed King side, I was talking about how they needed something to blink in and start the fight if Doom's going to blink in and throw Doom up on Death Prophet, and Sand King fills that role. But the other thing that they have is Naga Sleep. So they can either choose to Naga Sleep, go in, and then Doom Death Prophet immediately, or if Death Prophet's already used her Exorcism, they're going to wait until Exorcism's probably down to about 10 seconds left, then they'll sleep, then they'll move in and get on top of them, and the Death Prophet ult's going to be ending, and then they're going to be stuck when they should have retreated a little bit earlier and respected the Naga Sleep, and then they're going to get into a fight that way with Exorcism on cooldown. So that's what No-Eyed Kings is going to look to be doing in these fights most likely, as we should probably introduce the teams here. So do you want to get started with No-Eyed Kings?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. So, for No-Eyed Kings, on the Radiant side, we have Fate. Picking up the Viper in the middle lane, we have Spirit on the Doom off lane. We have Flowers, the support, Sand King. Aziriel, the team captain, looking to pick up that carry role this game instead of that mid role on the Naga Siren. And finally, that leaves Kiwi Murphy on the support, Dazzle.
All right, on this...
There, defeat me.
Yeah, sorry, I knew they were defeat
Okay.
me. On this Defeat Me squad, we have Juthy playing the middle Death Prophet. We got 14 centimeters playing the Marana. We've got some Chinese
It's
name playing...
OSW in weird letters.
OSW?
Yes, that's
Okay.
what they said in chat.
OSW playing the Bristleback?
No.
No, sorry, that's
Abaddon.
OSW playing the Abaddon.
Yeah,
There we
yeah.
go, that makes sense. Some Chinese name playing the Bristleback, and Flenaris playing the Skywrath Mage.
Definitely love those characters that we can't pronounce. But one of these days,
We're getting there. We're getting there.
We'll become cultured, guys. You wait. We'll read all the languages. We will consume it all. But in this lane, I'm primarily looking to see what Doom gets and doesn't get. He is on the Radiant side off lane, which means he has access to that pole camp. But the ward that he has placed will eventually block that up. So he's only going to have access to one side pole before that camp is blocked out for the rest of the game. And there's actually no block at all on Flowers' jungle. So definitely look for them to exploit that and stack up as much as possible. Because Flowers could get a really early Blink Dagger with no wards blocking any camp.
Yeah, absolutely. And when they have the Dazzle matched up against the Bristleback, Dazzle can do a really, really good job of zoning out an offlaner by himself. So essentially, Sand King should just be in the jungle right now, farming immediately. But he's not doing that. He's choosing to farm in the lane. I think he's actually going to leave now to go do that. The middle lane is actually relatively even matchup. I think it's slightly Death Prophet favored, but Viper can do well, as we actually see Death Prophet winning that lane quite handily at the moment.
Yeah,
And
I expect Viper to secure a few of those last hits. Maybe it's beginning of tournament jitters or whatever it is. But I definitely look to see them at the 10-minute mark be more even than it is right now. I don't think it's a big deal at the discrepancy.
In the top lane, Doom can generally be really aggressive and really greedy with getting his XP. Unfortunately, he did just get his Observer Ward off to the side countered. But look for him to kind of just be a little bit more greedy with his play, because they don't really have lockdown. They've got the long range initiation in terms of the slow on the Doom, but then they just have the arrow to back it up. So if he's able to block to get out of the way, he's okay, as he eats one right now and he's going to actually die.
Yeah, he is going to go down. One right click will secure it. OSW on the Abaddon will clean that up as we catch the tail end of that. And of course, over on the Radiant side, on their jungle, things are going a lot better for them. Doom, unfortunately, going down, but Flowers is getting a lot of experience right now in this jungle. Is getting the pull through. And Mud Golems are one of those things as a support. When you get a pull through, they're actually really amazing experience. They're both level 5, and he gets 100 gold from killing both of them. So he's now at level 3 minutes into the game. And that's when a Sand King is going to start really getting far ahead. He's going to start, sandstorming camps just like this. He's going to stack other ones. And then by 9-10 minutes, he should have a Blink Dagger, if not Blink Dagger and Brown Boots. Stacks actually by Bristleback. This is really huge stack already.
Yeah, No-Eyed Kings is actually off to a really good start. Yes, their Doom isn't getting as much as you'd hope in this top lane, but that's actually okay. They're not on a timer, and they certainly aren't 100% pivotal on Doom getting the blink. They don't even necessarily need him to get a blink this game, since they picked up the Naga. But they're doing relatively fine in all the other lanes. Like we said, Viper should be doing better in the middle lane, and he has picked it up. He's now even with the Death Prophet. So he was just off to a slow start. And the only thing I'd like to see No-Eyed Kings do is actually block off this Ancient camp, because they're doing such a good job of zoning out the Bristleback. He's basically left with nothing else to do but stack that Ancient camp. So if they had blocked it up, then what would he be doing? He'd just be standing there, hugging his tower, and basically achieving nothing in that lane. So that's one little thing they could have done. But maybe they're planning on actually taking it themselves or something. I don't know. That'll remain to be seen.
They do have some heroes to take it. I guess. I mean, you can use Dazzle and 2 melee heroes. The physical damage is definitely nice, but they don't have a single hero, like an individual hero, that can take that stack. But maybe in top lane, we might actually see Spirit go down again as he is going to get seen by the Skywrath Mage. Right clicks are being exchanged here. The concussive shot goes out as he pops that Scorched Earth, leap forward from 14 centimeters. He throws that stun. The right clicks are coming out as well as the magic nukes, but it's not enough. Death Prophet with the haste, yeah, might be enough here. Dropping down to low health and does get cleaned up. He did pop that salve and Scorched Earth. Enough, or almost enough. Getting down to like 64 HP, or getting up to, sorry, 64 HP before he finally fell. That was really close.
Yeah, I was saying that he needs to be a little bit greedy in the top lane, but that's actually a little too greedy. He has to respect, as weird as it sounds, he has to actually respect the Abaddon's positioning. Because if the Abaddon gets on top of him, then he's actually going to be in a lot of trouble. But as we actually see them smoke up and try to get something done in another lane, this is going to be interesting. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to kill Viper here, but...
I think it is worth noting that they're not running under any Radiant Observer wards, so Noed Kings shouldn't make the assumption, because they have vision, that they're like just pulling or something. Right now they should be calling missing, and we should see Fate back up. If not, I think it's a pretty easy kill, because they have the slope.
Doom, Doom should know now.
Yeah.
Right now that the supports are missing.
Yeah,
so
but they're going to go right now. Fate is, Flaneris is going to get visible now as he does throw out the concussive shot and Ancient Seal. Right clicks as well as the Crypt Swarm. Should be enough. OSW is going to take the tower, does just go ahead and throw out that orb. Might die to the Viper Strike and tower shots? No, the orb is enough to keep him alive. Or sorry, the Aphotic Shield is enough to keep him alive. His gank was, well enough executed that they got that kill.
Yeah, that was a good job by those supports. That was their moment that they had to go. Like we said, Doom was just noticing right then that the supports were gone. He had just gotten sighted the creep wave and know that they hadn't pulled on the timing that they were supposed to pull. And yeah, that's when he would have been calling it out, but Viper was already getting engaged on. So good timing by them to just basically to engage at the right time, and they collected a kill because of it.
Mm-hmm. And this is keeping Defeat Me in the game in the sense of the laning stage right now. Like their team's aspects come online in a little bit, but for right now, these ganks, these 3 kills, are what are actually keeping the gold graph or the experience graph even, and the gold graph in their favor, because the Naga is getting a ton of farm bottom and is actually already 2,000 gold and 2 her relic. Could just straight rush that, which is probably what she's looking to do.
She could actually be in trouble right now.
Yeah, the supports do come down there. Again, it is worth noting they only have the Skywrath Mage, and if she sees the concussive shot and gets the song off before, if you Ancient Seal somehow while she's songing, it cancels the song because it's channeled, correct? Well, we'll see if that happens right now. No, they do get the Ancient Seal before the song goes off, so it's not going to matter. Or maybe it isn't, or it is, as Naga Siren is going to get that song off. Another 4 seconds here. She gets healed up by Dazzle. Kiwi Murphy coming into the area, as well as the Flowers. Looking to that Blink Dagger. 1,500 gold, almost 1,600 gold now. And again, the heroes that need the gold are getting it, but Noid Kings are losing the Doom twice and the Viper once. So it's even in that sense, but I definitely think that it's still on Defeat Me right now. Or never mind, maybe that might change. They're going to get the kill on Azuriel here. Remember, he is Radiance rushing, so he has 2,300 gold. We'll get the split image off. Or, mirror image. We'll get healed up. Grave goes out onto him. 1 more second of that. Will they be able to clean up this kill? Right clicks are not there. They don't have any mana to get the cool spray. Yeah, now the stun in from Flowers. Dealing quite a bit of damage. Heal or salve as well as Mist Coil onto Bristlewhack. He will get away. But
that's
really
exactly
important.
what they needed. That was really important for the Naga to stay alive there. It's unfortunate for this dire side to not get the kill there. They devoted quite a bit to that, but it looked like they were going to get it. But Dazzle to save the day.
Well, Juthi is looking to turn this around as she does run over, throws a Crypt Swarm onto Flowers, dropping down to about 400 HP. She is not in vision of them right now, if I'm mistaken, but this ward is now. Able to see her again, they will see her leave the lane. Or maybe she isn't going to go where they have vision, so she might be able to get something done here in the middle, but Viper is pretty tanky himself. And this entire time, 14 centimeters has been farming. We'll see what he's looking to pick up as he's flying out of Midas right now. What do you think about that decision, Is? I mean, we do see it a lot on Miranas when they play that core position. It's a really
No.
kind of debatable topic, or highly debated topic.
I'm not a real big fan of Midas, especially on Marana, but in this game it could potentially work.
So I
As
cut you
going
off
on
with
top.
Spear. It is going to get got on as he gets concussive shot, followed up by the Arcane Seal, the leap, and the Starfall is there, but with those wand charges and the Scorched Earth running. Spirit's not going to go down anytime soon, still sitting at 400 HP, and we'll be able to deflect this push.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
with the I think it could work here if they plan on being really aggressive and really mobile and doing a lot in the mid game with the Marana. Midas is going to allow her to keep having item progression, whereas another item that will allow her to fight a little bit better won't allow her to progress, but it would make her stronger at that point in the game. I think this is actually the right choice because they're going to need some kind of item progression, and it looks like they are going to plan to be a lot more aggressive. So with their strong team fight already, I don't think they necessarily need Mirana to be a little bit stronger. I think what they need is their lineup to actually be stronger as the game goes on, rather than just kind of stay as it is.
Okay. No, that's definitely fair, and that's probably what she's looking to do with it. However, Aziriel is going to be getting her farming item very soon, or his farming item very soon, as we are 1,000 gold from the Relic 10 minutes into this game. It is a rush, so a little bit slower than you would expect. We would expect to see a 10 to 12 minute radiance, but definitely quick enough to have a large impact. The sooner you have the radiance, the sooner you can start farming all over the map, and actually going to be able to get away with that Scorcher. Spot outs Flanarius, actually he's going to turn on it. Does chase him down, the concussive shot is slowing him. So it looks like he might stop the pursuit, but I'm wrong. He wants to continue. He's level 6, but without Doom. Sitting on this hero for a while. It took me a minute to notice, but yeah, he has 3-0-0. Interesting decision there, but maybe a misclick, maybe intentional, as we do see 3 heroes from No Kings rotate in the top lane and look to apply pressure as Azirio's farming bottom.
Yeah, I don't see why you'd want to pick up another point in Scorched Earth over the Doom. It must have just been a misclick. But that felt very forced. You know, the Viper was TPing in to try and turn something around. Is some pressure on mid, but no big deal.
Yeah,
But yeah, it just felt forced. They wanted to start a fight.
They're actually going to dive Aziriel as we do see the song come out after the concussive shot. Aziriel taking a decent amount of damage from this Death Prophet ultimate, but Flowers channeling up. The ultimate does get canceled by the Ancient Seal, and that puts Epicenter on cooldown for 130 seconds. Of course, that is one of the few spells in the game where if you channel, it immediately cancels the cooldown if you cancel the channeling. Or a few other spells like that.
That was unfortunate. The Epi was channeling under the sleep, and Ezreal just walked a little bit away, and Flowers got canceled, of course, by this Skywrath mage played by Flanarius. So that was a little unfortunate there. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication. Maybe Ezreal couldn't stay close enough for too long because
that's what I was about to mention.
Yeah, the Exorcism spirits do still deal damage while the sleep is going on, and Nog was getting lower, about 200 HP. So
yeah.
Just kind of playing it safe, maybe. Unfortunate.
It is, but at the same time, they did delay a lot of the time on the Death Prophet ulti by doing what they're doing, and by doing what they did. And Fate now comes into the middle lane, cleans up this creep wave, and their tower is still going to stand with 500 HP. Definitely not a small amount, but not the greatest amount that you would want. Aziriel doesn't die and continues to be able to farm at 3,300 gold. We do see actually Juthi in a position here to potentially get a rather big pick off. Kiwi Murphy is right in the vision.
Right now.
Yeah, he should definitely know right now, and she will throw him up in the air. Does have the silence available, and the arrow is there to clean up Kiwi Murphy as Juthi cleans up that kill with the Crypt Swarm, and they will now be able to push. She has 2 bottle charges, the Yules, mana regen, and also in the bottom lane we see their Bristleback farming up that mech and pushing bottom. Sankey looking to stop this push as he has 300 gold from the Blink Dagger, so big items about to come up all over the map.
Yeah, I think right now you push top really hard, especially if you're this Bristleback. I think you just TP up there and go. Sand just TP'd bottom, so I think you just go up top and you push and take that tower and start getting some tower gold on your side. But they may just try to push with the 3 here.
No, it looks like
against the Doom.
Looks like that's what they will do. However, Doom is able to pull back that creep wave. without any retribution. So that push is completely solid, and we'll see these 3 heroes go out onto the map and try to do some other things. 14 centimeters, or 14 cm, is going to be picking up a Maelstrom. Pretty standard itemization here from her. Nothing really too out of the ordinary after the Midas. But actually, middle lane. Oh no, that's OSW. No gank on Fate, as he did pick up that mechanism with the Blink Dagger on Sand King, and then the mech on Fate. I think they're going to group up as 5, and actually Doom is really close too to his own Blink Dagger. So No-Eyed Kings is really close to the I guess the first major threshold in the game where they're able to take control of the map, and OSW in the middle lane isn't level 6 yet, does pop it right now, so he will be able to use that ultimate. Now Fate is the one in trouble as he gets thrown into the air. Mechanism is used, dropping down to 400 HP. Mistcoil is there to help as well, but he's just going to turn onto OSW, taking a ton of damage. Fate down to 250, does get Shallow Grave at the last second, and now Judithy going to have to walk away. Fate getting away with a free kill out of that, even though Abaddon skilled his ult during that fight.
I think you probably should have thrown out the Shallow Grave before the heal.
Oh,
Maybe he
bottom
was
lane,
just
we
trying
might
to make
actually
sure
see
he got
another
the
kill. Never mind, TP support as well as Bristleback being Bristleback, preventing that kill from happening. And they're going to go ahead and throw 3 heroes here in the bottom lane, and Defeat Me is going to, 4 heroes make that, and is going to attempt a push on this bottom T1 as the middle T1 is getting pinged out by, I'm not entirely sure that was a defense ping, so yeah, that was from Defeat Me.
What was key with that engagement middle was while that was going on, the Relic flew across the map, and Naga picked that up, and Flowers also picked up his Blink Dagger on the Sand King. So they have 2 pretty important items. Obviously, you still have to wait for the Radiant, but the Relic is that big important one that you're saving up for.
Blink on Doom as well, and we're going to blink in. Doom goes on to Skywrath Mage, so we won't have any concussive shot or slows, and now the song comes out from Naga trying to isolate them or keep them grouped up together. They're going to go ahead and move in right now. The Epicenter is there, hitting on 2, thrown up in the air is Judithy, but the Bristleback taking a lot of damage. They don't have enough mana for the stun onto Sand King. The Skywrath Mage ultimate is off the mark as Fate is taking a lot of damage from the Death Prophet ultimate, and at the end of the fight, No-Eyed Kings is down 2 heroes. Defeat Me down 1, as actually it might be 3, as the Skywrath Mage is able to get the kill on Dazzle as well as the last hit on the tower, and that was not the way that No-Eyed Kings wanted this fight to go.
Yeah, they initiated with the blink on the Doom, so Doom I actually didn't even notice, but Doom did pick up the blink, and he jumped in, he got the Doom off, and it looks like they were off to a good start to the fight, and then Naga slept, which actually could have still been okay. Naga was actually, when he first popped the sleep, he was able to sleep 2 different heroes on Defeat Me that wasn't Skywrath Mage. So his team was still focusing Skywrath Mage while 2 of his teammates were slept. So that would have been really good, but then Naga kind of moved a little too close. And then Skywrath got slept, and they couldn't deal any damage to it, and then they went to reinitiate with the Epicenter. But unfortunately, what I'd rather have seen, and it would have been easier for them to execute, would have just been sleep, get everyone in position, and then Doom just look for the Death Prophet. Because Death Prophet got her exorcism off that fight. That probably would have been a little bit better for them. But yeah, they're doing basically what I was saying, you know. Get the blink on the Doom, have him blink in and initiate the fight, and Sand King kind of back it up at the same time. And they've got the sleep to either disengage or, you know, help with that engage as well. So we'll have to wait and see if they can clean up that engagement in the future.
Yeah, but you know what, I think before we move on to the rest of this game, I think given what you said, if they would have songed first, the Death Prophet had already used their ultimate before the fight, and this is a fight where that's not going to matter because the Doom does get off on a Death Prophet. However, she's running away, which is going to negate most of the effectiveness of that Doom, and meanwhile, Fate getting Mystic Flared by Flaneris, but Flaneris is actually the one in trouble now as he's getting chased down. Fate trying to throw out that ultimate will finally get it on Skywrath Mage, and that will deal quite a bit of damage. Cleaned up by Flowers with that Burrow Strike, and now Judithy is back in action. Decent amount of HP. However, Kiwi Murphy does throw down that Weave, giving them a lot of bonus armor to help negate that. And it looks like Death Prophet's just going to immediately go middle. We'll probably see her pop her ultimate and go for a trade here, as this top tower is definitely going to fall. Yeah, and she will. She could just focus her spirits here by right-clicking the tower, but she's going to get the creep wave first. And they do have the Fortify to help stall time for her. TP actually from Viper. Fate might be able to stop this as Fate is just running in and manning up right now, taking quite a bit of damage. The Crypt Swarm is there. The right clicks are going onto the tower from Death Prophet. The Fortify from the Radiant is there. Fate getting low, taking a lot of damage down, and will actually fall as now Spirit is on the back foot. Middle tower down. Juthi will get the last hit on that tower. Spirit dropping down to death right now. Falling. He's dropping down literally to the ground, as that will be 2 down for No Eye Kings. And Defeat Me doing a really good job pressuring this map. However, Naga did pick up a Radiance. So if there was a point in which this game would really start to turn around for No Eye Kings, it has to be this moment, because she is kind of their main mechanism to go into the later portions of this game.
Yeah, I don't know about their decision to really try and defend that middle tower there. They needed basically one more hero. Naga was in the jungle, unable to attend. Dazzle was up top with TP on cooldown. And Flowers on the Sand King was also up top. But he didn't have a TP. I'm not sure if it was on cooldown or not. Maybe Dazzle could have passed him a TP, and he could have joined in. But you're going to see a smoke, and they're going to run into them immediately at their chance.
Yeah, and they do have vision of this. Both of them have Observer Words right now. We have the Weave going out, the Doom as well onto the Abaddon Spirit, taking a lot of damage from that Mystic Flare, and will get cleaned up by the arrow from Mirana. Right clicks are going onto Death Prophet as she throws herself into the air. Mirana will leap onto the high ground, barely living, but the epicenter is there, only hitting on 1, however. Skywrath Mage and Doom are the only 2 down so far in this fight. Meanwhile, towards the top of the fight, we're actually going to see Bristleback fall to Ezreal and the Dazzle together, and now Flowers and Fate want to continue to push this as Juthi is trying to run away. Lots of damage being dealt out from 14 centimeters on the Mirana, but now the song to reset the fight. Juthi looks like to be the primary target here. She does have the Yule's off cooldown and will pop that ultimate. However, as soon as she falls, she will die. The ultimate will go on cooldown, and now the Abaddon looks to be in trouble as he doesn't have the ultimate off of cooldown right now. A TP in from the Skywrath Mage might be a little bit wishful, as they are now surrounded by 5 heroes to 2. And this middle tower looks like it's going to fall.
Yeah, that was a good sleep to get his team in position, and everyone could surround the Death Prophet. And then Sand King was able to get a double stun on Mirana and Abaddon to make sure that they weren't able to assist the Death Prophet. So they cleaned up an easy kill on Death Prophet and walked away with a little bit of an advantage there.
Well, now it's 4v2 right here as Spirit has gotten behind the enemy lines with this Invis. It looks like the concussive shot and silence onto Viper's Mystic Flare is still up. Yeah, they did see him. So they are 100% aware of his positioning. At least his potential positioning. They're not entirely sure where he is now, as they probably...
Oh. They have no sentry. They have no detect on.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Oh wow.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
That was a prime example. No way.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Talk about forcing fights. Defeat Me was just they wanted to kill that Doom. It's like you just wasted our smoke. Let's get something done. Had to chase him across the map, and they went a little too far. Lost 4 heroes. But yeah, trying to force a little bit too much there. I'd like to see them force by playing an objective, really pushing towers and forcing fight that way. Arrow. This has been a real back and forth game. Oh my goodness. Wow. I don't even know how to read into that fight. That was looking so Radiant favored. As soon as like the initiation was kind of botched and looked like they were going to turn around and get on Flanaris, and then all of a sudden it turned right back around. And Flowers came in with the epicenter, but it didn't really get as much accomplished as I think they wanted. He wasn't quite able to get in range.
Oh. I'm sorry, guys. For some reason, I somehow hit a hotkey.
You muted me?
No, I muted myself.
Oh.
It's muted for me, and I'm sorry. I apologize for that. So that'll be
That's
fixed
okay,
in
then.
exactly 2 minutes, but you guys won't be hearing about this. Will be fixed.
They missed the Druid Sandstorm
Two.
comment.
As their courses delay. But yeah, I definitely think that fight was really interesting. But the Abaddon ult was kind of the turning point, in my opinion, because once Abaddon healed up, or that ult popped from the epicenter damage, she just soaked up like 2 or 3 pulses, miscoiled a teammate, shielded another, and then, you know, they just immediately turn around, right? And that's 200 HP they didn't have before, plus the Abaddon's health that he healed and the miscoil, but Azuriel going to be going on to the middle lane. His song is pop. Fluneris is caught out. They do see Abaddon off to the side. It looks like the epicenter is only going to be used to clean up Flowers. Some of the damage does get negated by the song, and now the Mystic Flayer gets whiffed as well. Juthi in the middle of this fight will pop the ultimate and get the Yules off. The Doom is on to Abaddon, so no more shields and heals coming from him, but Spirit is the one taking most of the damage and will fall here as they're into the fight. And it looks like Bristleback is the one at the front lines right now taking a lot of damage. Radiant is grouped up together. The Viper Strike going out as well as the Doom on to Abaddon. However, the Doom ends, so his Abaddon's ultimate will get popped. Borrowed time healing him up 200 HP. Flowers will blink in forward, getting a stun on one as well as the Sandstorm, but now gets shallow graved at the last second again. Kiwi Murphy on point with that. Looks like 14 centimeters is going to clean up the Viper next to that tower, and now Azuriel caught out, might get cleaned up by Juthi. However, again, Flowers is there with the stun. Juthi with the great Crypt Swarm will clean that up. Arrow going to hit Kiwi Murphy in the back, and now Flowers and Kiwi Murphy are caught out on the wrong side of the map, as 5 heroes are traded for 2, it looks like, because I assume Doom died as well. Yeah, he died at the very beginning of the fight.
These fights are so chaotic. Oh my goodness. It's like impossible to know until the very end of the fight who's going to come out ahead. It's just so close, so close. Everyone's getting so low, and then it seems like the team that really chases, really tries to follow up on finishing those kills is the one that ends up losing out. As we've seen a few times now, the team that, like I said, just kind of chasing, trying to get more, ends up getting turned around on and loses a bunch of heroes. But wow, that was a close fight.
Yeah. And honestly, in this situation, for No-Eyed Kings, they really need to be winning these close fights, because the Naga needs to get a big advantage. And honestly, we talk about how much farm a Radiance brings you, but, you know, she's had it for 12 minutes, about, right? 12 minutes, 10 minutes or so? No, let's say 8 to 10 minutes, because I think that's about right. She's only picked up bots since then.
Yeah, there's been a lot of fighting, and Naga's been there, and I think I don't want to say you're wrong, but I think you're wrong
Okay.
in saying that they need to be winning these fights. I think the more important thing is they need to not be losing the fights. If they, like I said, that fight was looking very, very close, and then they pushed and they kept following, trying to clean up and get a couple more kills, and it ended up they lost 3 more heroes because of that decision. Had they not done that, and had they just backed up and said, okay, you know what, this fight went as a tie, we're okay with that, because I think our lineup's going to be stronger as the game goes on. Let's buy a little bit more time for Naga. But I think that's why I think it's more important for them just to come out not losing a fight. So a tie is perfectly fine for them. I don't think they need to be winning the fights.
Okay.
Whereas I think Defeat Me, they need to be winning the fights. They need to be winning the fights and taking towers right now. Because I think they need more gold in some way to be able to contest the Naga as this game goes on. And unfortunately, they're getting into a lot of these fights. Well, that fight was playing an objective. It was defending their own tower. But I think they need to be more on the aggression, so that they're playing objectives in an offensive way, making No-Eyed Kings have to respond and defend their own towers. That's how you get Naga to come away from farming and come to the fight. Even though Naga's been showing that she's perfectly fine with coming to the fights and doing it on an offensive level as well.
Yeah. Well, We'll see if that continues to pay off for them, because stalling out the Naga's farm, I think, could come to hurt them. We'll see. Do you think Naga, like, outright wins this late, or do you think a DP, Bristle, and even an Abaddon and Mirana, I guess a potential quad core could take on the No-Eyed Kings in the late game?
Well, the thing is generally at this point in the game, Naga's going to be not as strong as she will be as the game comes on, relative to all the other heroes in the game. So this is the point in the game where you're going to have to be using...
Middle lane, we might see a pretty big engagement. Do you see the Viper Strike onto Death Prophet? She pops her own Shivas, but these are all low cooldown abilities and items, so nothing major going to happen. This is mainly posturing.
So this is the point in the game that you're probably going to have to be using the Shallow Grave on Naga if she gets into the fight. But that actually hasn't been happening. You know, Kiwi Murphy's been putting the Shallow Grave on other targets, and he's been doing it on really good targets.
Oh, actually in middle lane? Maybe Flaneris might go down. Viper Strike just getting thrown out a lot here, not trying to...
He's got eggs, why not, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry,
but,
go ahead.
But like I said, Kiwi Murphy hasn't actually had to throw out the Shallow Grave on the Naga, even though Naga's participating in the fights. He's able to use it on other targets. So as the game goes on, Naga's never going to need it, because she's going to get so big, especially once her heart comes online. Then you're going to have basically Fate most likely is going to be the target. He's going to get into the middle of a fight, and he's going to turn into a turret, slowing everyone and dealing a bunch of damage. So that's going to open them up to do a lot more, but I don't know. It's weird. I'm trying to think of how this game is really going to progress, because I think Naga just takes over.
Reward is Radiant, so Forcian is going to get seen. Viper Strike onto him, as well as the two-man Burrow Strike from Flowers. Immediately one is down, but yes, that wraparound smoke is finally here. Mirana ultimate is here. However, the epicenter from Flowers doing quite a bit of damage. Flowers is going to fall in the end, along with the Dazzle, as Flaneris taking that Viper Strike again, but now they're all chasing down Fate, as he already has thrown out that Viper Strike. He's going to attempt the TP out, but the Spirits will clean him up. Meantime, in the bottom lane, we do see the Naga getting a ton of damage with Spirit into this bottom T2, and it looks like the dire side, Defeat Me, is going to immediately pressure down this middle lane and try to get a trade here, but the Death Prophet ultimate is over, so the fight did accomplish that. But do you think that was worth 3 heroes? They did kill the highest net worth hero too. Mirana is really farmed right now.
Yeah, Miranda's actually way ahead of this Naga, which is quite surprising. But I don't think it was worth the 3 heroes. However, we have to give some credit to Defeat Me, who actually realized that push was going to come. It was going to be a split push, and they did a good job of preemptively smoking and wrapping around behind.
Wants to fight. It looks like he might just get turned around here as the Shiva slow and the Snot dealing quite a bit. The concussive shot is actually going to be the one that cleans him up. And now this Ancient Seal, as well as the Arcane Bolt's going to clean up the Dazzle, and now they're actually on the retreat a little bit. Azirial and Flowers are going to stall up on the high ground here and be able to deflect this for now, but they're losing a lot of heroes right now, and this is where, you know, I know you kind of disagree with me, but I'm worried for No-Eyed Kings, because there's a lot of deaths that they didn't have to have, where they could have just been playing like a duck and dodge game, or you know whatever you want to call it. But they've been losing a lot here, and
I mean, all that just happened right there was in my opinion just a mistake. Ezreal had sleep on the Nog the whole time. He just let Doom and what is this hero called? Dazzle just die for nothing, and it allowed Defeat Me to get a Roshan kill on the back of it. So I don't understand why they were saving sleep that whole time, but I don't know. Maybe they feel it's really important for their engagements, but I don't know. When you've got level 2.
I don't know.
It's okay to use.
She does have sleep, but she doesn't have access to bots for another 20 seconds. This could get sticky here. She will go ahead and throw the sleep now. However, Death Prophet is in a pursuit path that might be able to cut her off. No, they choose not to. She's just kind of running back and forth a little bit, not really committing to the idea of cutting her off or not cutting her off. Now deciding to just defend this middle lane as the team of No-Eyed Kings is going to kind of assert themselves, take down this low HP tower. Not able to get the last hit, but they do get the tower. The gold swinging in their favor, and they're starting to catch up in the net worth as far as gold. Or they're keeping it relatively even. However, the experience is continuing to fall in the favor of Defeat Me.
So that was actually a very important tower. Obviously, it allows a lot of transitions from going from middle lane to top lane, or moving around and basically getting onto the dire side of the map for No-Eyed Kings. And they've actually been fighting over that tower for, I think, close to 15 minutes now. So it's kind good that it actually has fallen, as we're going to see a team fight starting to brew top.
Juthy is going to take that Viper Strike. Does have the Yules, though, still negate a lot of that damage. Spirit is going to blink in and get the Doom on Juthy before the ultimate goes off. Doom is going to continue the pursuit as we see Flowers blink in with the Epicenter, gets a 2-man stun, but the Mystic Flare dealing quite a bit of damage. Bristleback will fall in the end, but he does have that Aegis, so he's going to pop back up, and Fate and Spirit at decently low life. The Earn Charge going out onto Fate, as Aziriel is in the back right now. The stun on Bristleback taking quite a bit of damage. Viper Strike as well, but now Juthy is back into that fight with the ultimate. Does throw out the Crypt Swarm, dealing quite a bit of damage. The Radiant team is trying to commit to this, but it's really hard to commit under a Crypt Swarm. They should just kind of back up here, but the Viper Strike does go out. Yules from Death Prophet to dodge that. And once they wait out this Death Prophet ultimate, they could turn around and continue to push here. They have 37 seconds until the Bristleback, and now another 30 seconds until the Shivas. But it looks like they are just going to go ahead and back out and continue to farm.
Yeah, that was actually a really good fight for No Eyed Kings. Defeat Me actually had a chance to do really, really well in that fight. The Naga, Azrael, had to actually TP in to that fight. He was at the fountain, and he TP'd in on a creep that was actually under the tower, and the tower switched to it and started attacking it, and Felinaris on the Skywrath had an opportunity to actually attack it and kill it, but didn't, and Naga came into the fight. The creep actually lived with about one attack left from dying when the Naga finished the TP in. So they had an opportunity there, but Felinaris was probably looking more at the fight and less at that creep that was right next to him with the TP.
Well, right now it looks like Spirit's going to be in decent trouble, as they did see him blink over into that camp while you were explaining that. But
That's
now,
not even fair.
No, that wasn't even fair. Now Fate, I don't believe they know that Fate doesn't have his TP off of cooldown. They did see a TP, so they might just assume he's TP'd away. And not too big of a deal at all, but that will allow them to have one more hero to defend this bottom tower. Naga is going to go ahead and TP in. Or sorry, that's Fate TPing in. Naga is going to push out middle, probably with illusions, and then TP back home, or they might just sack this tower right now. They need to make up their mind. They can't defend.
Look at this arrow.
This arrow might just hit on Flowers, and it does. Doesn't blink away in time, and now Flowers is definitely dead. Fate also in the area, getting slowed up by that Shiva's Blade Mail goes out. Kiwi Murphy is silenced, won't be able to get that Grave off on himself. He is no longer silenced. Could Grave self does, and he is going to TP away and get away. However, Fate is going to be falling anyways, and 2 are down. Dazzle living into the fountain. But actually, what? He did die. It looks like his TP was canceled. Is there an MKB on Mirana? I believe there is. Yes, there is an MKB. So she got a mini crit or a mini stun on to the Dazzle, canceling that teleport. So now 3 are down, and No Eye Kings are looking to take quite a bit of structural damage here as Aziriel wants to defend this, does have access to Song. The arrow will fly out and hits on Aziriel, and this might be the game moment here for No Eyed Kings, as they're going to lose their racks and they're going to lose their Doom. Buyback from Aziriel as she wants to try to defend this, does have access to the Manta in another 8 seconds, has those illusions out, trying to stall as much as she can right now. Melee racks dropping down to 800 HP, and she alone might be able to stall this until the rest of her team is up. The Sand King is about to be up. She gets thrown in the air, and now Flowers with the epicenter does connect on 2 with the stun, and now the net comes out onto Juthy as the damage from Aziriel is doing quite a bit here. Death Prophet will fall as 2 are down. Aziriel dropping really low. They want to go for the kill. Miss Coil is up and she goes down. Now 3 on the sidelines for No Eyed Kings. 2 on the sides for Defeat Me as it makes it that 3 on the sidelines for No Eyed Kings, and the fight continues. 14 Cinema. Yeah, no, it's not. As she gets Viper Strike, and Fate actually just going to come into the back lines. It looks like he TP'd into the back. Was able to clean up the final 2 heroes. So they were able to defend their melee, or sorry, their range racks. But they did lose a T3 in melee and quite a few heroes for that.
These fights, they're so close. They're so close to going one way or the other. And it's just, they just got to keep going, and all of a sudden it turns to be a favorite in one way. But they did get the racks there, so that's very important. I actually want to back up a bit to when they took the tier 2 bottom and how that played out. There was an arrow that came out and hit Flowers on the Sand King, and I don't know when the Dire actually placed this ward on the pillar, but No Eyed Kings obviously didn't know that the potential of it was there, because if they did, then they need to either invest, especially when they have a Sand King, a hero who has to initiate on a team fight like that and is going to be looking to have that upper positioning. They need to either invest a sentry ward up there, which Dazzle actually had on hand, or they need to use a smoke to ensure that Sand King gets good positioning, is able to jump in and get a good start to the fight. But unfortunately, they weren't able to do that, probably because they didn't think that ward could have been there. And it was a good job of this Mirana to recognize the fact that Sand King was just standing still. He was sitting there waiting and just threw out an arrow. Sand King couldn't see it coming in, and that allowed them to easily get a tier 2, and it actually allowed them to keep going and get a Rax on the back of it. So a small little play there in terms of not counter-warding or checking or smoking that. But once again, a kind of a small little play from 14 centimeters on the Mirana, just to throw the arrow. Why not try, right? And it lands, and that small little play ended up getting the tier 2 bottom and the tier 3 bottom and a Rax on the back of it. So that's just how close this game is right now.
Well,
we talked a lot about the team fights being close, but that little thing can just really sway these team fights.
Well, it might be a little bit overcritical, but Flowers did have vision of that because it was daytime, and the tower saw the arrow before it entered the trees. So maybe a little bit of low reaction time somewhere else, eyes somewhere else on the map. But yeah, those small things, and that's the same thing with most competitive games, is small things will dictate a lot over a period of time as they, small things add up one after another, and in a fight like that where you lose one hero and then another, it led to a buyback from Naga and a melee Rax down, but they definitely have the tools to win this game.
Yeah.
Naga can rat any team to victory at this point in the game. It's just a question of if they're aware of the positioning of Defeat Me, I feel like, most importantly. If they're not aware and Defeat Me gets the jump that they want and they chunk another Rax, then it becomes a completely different game than it is right now. Even though the experience is in favor of Defeat Me, they are actually kind of on the back foot right now in the game state.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about potentially seeing that arrow, and they could very well have had vision of it. The problem is when you're the Sand King in that situation, you're not really looking at your hero or really close to your hero. You're looking at where the enemy team's going to be clumping up with that creep wave as they're going to advance the tower. So they may have had vision of it for maybe a second as it flew in through the tower range, but most likely Flower's camera was nowhere near there. But we're seeing them actually go for a top push, but
Roche is going to get taken during
Defeat Me's taking Roche at this time, so this is actually going to be big.
Yeah, this could honestly
really
be game-changing, because now if they win this fight, they could just go as hard as they want to down middle lane, and there's nothing to really stop them. Aziriel is going to kind of lead the charge here with that Reaver, as well as Manta Style does pop that mirror image. Illusion's going to run up and start doing some damage to the tower, and it looks like they want to attempt the slow siege here. Actually, Flower's going to be going for the catch out here, but gets silenced, as well as concussive shot. Mystic Flare dropping him down, and he will actually fall as Doom goes on to 14 CM, but the Death Prophet gets the ultimate off, and that is their fate. Pops the Blade Mail, but the Yule stopping the net on Death Prophet, so she will be continuing to deal quite a bit of damage. The Mirana doesn't care about the Doom, still chunking away at Kiwi Murphy, and now Fate is being chased up by 5 Dire Heroes as they are looking to chase this one down and potentially end the game here, as they have a lot of push power outside of the Death Prophet. Kiwi Murphy gonna try to run, but the arrow slightly off the mark, gonna get a hit, but Kiwi Murphy's gonna die anyways, as the concussive shot and the silence hits him as well. And now OSW, 14 CM and Squad are gonna push down middle lane and look to take their second set of racks, as Flowers trying to get back, did buy back during that, and does have access to Epicenter. They do have Song, so maybe there's a chance. But it's going to be extremely hard right now for No White Kings, as the arrow does fling out, doesn't hit anyone. It's a good start. They're going to need everything right now. They do actually have the Fortify, and it looks like they're going to channel the Epicenter into a 3-man Burrow Strike. Spirit's going to blink in as well and does get the Stomp stun, but it's not enough, as they're all getting healed up from the mech as well as the Abaddon. And now Aziriel's going to TP in. Does throw out the mirror image, taking quite a bit of damage though already. Fountain Heal does keep her back up at full health, but 14 CM has that Midas, doesn't really care if she dies. Is going to just continue to chip away at that Rax, and it looks like Bristleback and Squad standing strong as they want to continue to push with 4 heroes down on the side of No Eyed Kings. Make that 2 Rax in addition to that, and now they're going to clean up the range Rax gets cleaned up by itself anyways by the creeps. And Defeat Me gonna back out, as unfortunately No Eyed Kings looking like they're on the ropes right now in this first game of the Sunday Evening Cup series. And Niz, what do you think they need to do to get back into this game if they're gonna win it?
Well, unfortunately, this Aegis is still on top of the Mirana. So they need to either wait for that or somehow get a pick off on the Mirana, because with her having 2 lives in a fight, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to win a fight. Outside of that, I think they want to get a pick off, or they need to find a way to get rid of Exorcism in some way. Whether that's initiating on her and getting the Doom off, I don't think that's necessarily what they want to do. I think they need to use sleep on the back of the ending of an exorcism.
Arrow's going to come out and it's going to hit Kiwi Murphy as he wasn't moving. The song does come out, but that doesn't mean that Kiwi Murphy is going to stay alive here as he does get cleaned up by the ghosts. The ghosts are going to continue to chunk away at buildings. Song is over now, and now the top T3, the last standing set of racks in this game for No Eyed Kings, is going under fire here. Will lose the T3, the Blink In and the Epicenter hitting on one, and the Stomp is there as well, but Spirit and Flowers are the ones taking the majority of the damage here as the Dire side is just not taking any damage. Azuriel will fall as that leaves 4 on the sidelines for No Eyed Kings. Make it 5 as Fate is going to be focused down here by the entirety of Defeat Me, and it looks like they're going to claim their first round victory. And yeah, I don't really know what to say as far as this game. You know, for me, I think it was just No Eyed Kings trying to do too much before they had what they needed to win the game. But what are your thoughts, Niz?
Absolutely. I think both teams, with their drafts, had a very solid game plan, but I think both teams failed to really execute that game plan to the best. Do the best job of executing it that they could have. So unfortunately, we had No Eyed Kings doing just too much. Like you said, fighting too much, getting involved in the fights a little too much. And on the other hand, they ended up losing Naga in some of those fights, and Naga's item progression wasn't as quick as you generally want it to be. And on the other side of things, Defeat Me, they didn't push and put as much aggression on towers and played towers as much as they could have. They could have put a lot more pressure on early game, and they didn't do that. So they were a little slow getting the ball rolling. And fortunate for them, the Naga participating in the team fights, her item progression was slow, and that actually meant that Defeat Me was actually able to go later on into the game. I think both teams can learn a lot from this game, though. I think both teams need to show a lot more restraint. We saw a lot of team fights that were just kind of the seesaw battle with chasing really far, and then all of a sudden the turnaround happened and you lose 3 heroes just because you didn't show a little bit of restraint. But they need to show a little bit of restraint, know when, you know, they've come out ahead in a team fight, and know when to just kind of say, okay, you know, we got what we wanted. Let's regroup and focus on our next objective. So I think both teams could really look at their game and analyze that and find where they, you know, just tried to do a little bit too much, clean that up, and I think both teams will actually improve quite a bit.
Well,
but it was a good game.
I can definitely agree with that, Niz. I can definitely get on board with you. But I agree, it's a great game. Was a fun game to watch, and that will be it for us as far as this game goes, guys. We will be updating you as far as what the match we'll be watching in both of the waiting screen as well as the title in Twitch. But if you guys enjoyed this cast, or you enjoyed watching me or Niz, you can follow on this channel right here. You can follow on my Twitter at DotaRaptors or Nizcast at Nizcast, and all the VODs will be uploaded to my YouTube at /DotaRaptors. So thank you guys, and we will be into the next match in the next 5.